In this video, we'll cover the checkout form to populate credit card expiration dates. So in our current application, we have two things to do. So we need to populate the months and we also need to populate the years. Now, one approach is that we could simply just hard code the values, but that's not ideal. So for years, the years will become outdated. If we're in year 2022, why show 2020? We'd like to dynamically populate the current year and then go up to the next 10 years. Alrighty, so here's our development process. The first thing we'll do is we'll generate our form service. Then we'll add methods to the form service for months and years. Next, we'll update the checkout component to retrieve the months and years from the service. And finally, we'll update the HTML template to populate the drop-down list for months and years. Alrighty, step one, generating our form service. So again, we simply use the ng generate command, service, and we give services/love to shop form. And this will generate our love to shop form service. Alrighty, step two is adding methods to our form service for months and years. Alright, so we'll move into our file, love to shop form service. We'll do some imports up top for observable and of. This is from the RxJS framework or the reactive JavaScript framework, and we'll use these items in our upcoming code. Alright, so here's our class here, love to shop form service. We define this method get credit card months. They'll pass in a start month, and then we'll have an observable number square brackets, meaning an array of numbers. So we'll actually return an observable array back to the calling program. So inside of our method here, we set up our empty array, data, number, square brackets, and then we're going to build an array for the month drop-down list. We're going to start at the desired start month and loop until 12. So they pass in start month as a parameter, and we set up our for loop. So let the month equal start month, the month less than equal to 12, the month plus plus, and then we say data.push. So the data.push adds an element to the array. And then finally at the end here, we return of data. Now this is a little bit tricky here. So we want to return an array, but an observable array. So we take that array data and then we wrap it as an observable, and we wrap it by using the of operator. So the of operator is from RxJS. It'll wrap an object as an observable. And the reason that we use an observable is because our Angular components are going to subscribe to this given method to retrieve the data. If you'd like to get more information about RxJS, the reactive JavaScript framework, then visit the link here that I have on the slide. Alrighty, a bit more here on step two. We need to add a similar method here for credit card years. So we have get credit card years, we return an observable array. Internally here, I have this data, number, square brackets, and array, and I simply build the array for the year drop-down list. I start at the current year and I loop for the next 10 years. So here I get the current year by saying new date.get full year. So this works as expected. If the current year is 2020, this will return 2020. Similar thing if it's 2024, it's going to return the year 2024. And then in year, we simply take the start year plus 10. And then we simply do a for loop, and then we say data.push the year. And that's all fairly straightforward for you. The only tricky part again is wrapping this array as an observable. So again, we make use of that of operator from RxJS to wrap the array as an observable. And again, we use this because our Angular components are going to subscribe to this given method to retrieve the data. And that's basically it here for the method. So now let's go ahead and move to our Angular component in step three, and we're going to update our checkout component to retrieve the months and the years. So we just set up some arrays up top, some empty arrays for credit card years and credit card months. For our constructor, we inject our service that we created previously, our love to shop form service. So moving into our ng on init method, we're going to populate the credit card month. So here I get the start month, number equals new date, get month plus 1. So that gives me the current month. But the JavaScript date object the months are 0 based. So you'll actually get 0 to 11. So we need to add 1 here so we can get the months 1 to 12. All right. So just one thing to be aware of. In JavaScript, the months are 0 based. So we simply add 1 to it. And if you'd like to get more details here about the JavaScript data object as far as the full documentation, go to the link here and we will redirect you to the official JavaScript documentation for this. So then I call love to shop form service.get credit card months. I pass in the start month. I do a .subscribe. And then once that data is returned, I log the information and I also make the assignment. This .credit card months equals data. And that's basically it there for the coding as far as retrieving the credit card months. So here we do a similar thing for getting the credit card years. We call love to shop form service.get credit card years, do a .subscribe. And then once that data is returned, we simply log it and then assign it. This .credit card years equals data. And then finally here with step 4, we're going to update the HTML template to populate the drop-down list. So in our select form control name, expiration month, here we make use of that ng4 and we loop over the array. So let month of credit card months, that's from our component that we just created and we populated accordingly. Then we make use of it here in our actual template page. And then in the center here, we do the curly brace month to actually display that given month or use that to actually populate the drop-down list. And then we simply repeat the process here for expiration year. So let year of credit card years, we loop over that array, and then we use the year in curly braces there to populate the drop-down list accordingly. So we're simply retrieving data from our component. All right, so this all looks really good. Let's go ahead and move into our IDE and let's start writing the code.